Yorkie and me rolling on. 'Cause a long day's run can be short on fun. Without Yorkie to help me along.
So hi guys, welcome to another live. So this is the Eddie Stobart Moving the Nation issue 53 front right mudguard. So I'm going live this week because I've got another Wednesday night off. I do apologise for being a little bit late. I was originally going to go at 6 o'clock, but it's 8 o'clock, which for reasons I don't need to go into. But so before we begin, I have an expert in the Eddie Stobart here to help me. A wonderful guy. Check out his channel, Chris Davis World.
Hi, how's that?
Yeah, so you must be fully in the Eddie Stobart mode because you did it yesterday and you did it so well.
Yeah, that was enjoyed that.
You are focused on that. Right, so what I'll do is obviously I want to try and keep these consistent with the pre-produced video, so I'm going to be straight into it. So we've got Kenneth saying hello, afternoon, and hello everyone from Atlanta, Georgia. How are you all doing today? I am brilliant today. I've had a really good day, and a sponsor from one of my other shows is popped in to say hi all. Hi Smith Beads, and Smith Beads is gone. Chris. I always pick on his spelling. Right, so I've just got you on the show, and now I'm going to push you back a little bit. I do apologise. So I'm going to switch my camera over, and yeah, oh, hang on, I can do this, can't I? Look at that. How's that? So I don't need to kick Chris out. So what I've got here is my parts. I'm going to be needing this from a previous issue, and there is absolutely no shame in using, we know it's going to look roughly like this, so why not use that part from a previous issue to act as a kind of a guide? So obviously at the end of it, if we get something that looks roughly like this, then we know we've done it right. So we have got this week 5301, the front right mudguard. None of this is anything you've never seen before. So there we go. Nice little mudguard. That's made of plastic. Secondly, we have got the front right mudguard flap. Now, as I explained last week, I have to modify this to make it consistent with other mud flaps that I've done. I will be doing that, but I've decided that I'm going to do them both together, last week's and this week's, and then I'll do them both at once. And then lastly, we've got 5303, which is the front right mudguard bracket. This is the only metal piece excluding the screws. We've got 3 sets of screws. I'm sure we only had 2 last week. Let me check last week's magazine. No, I'm wrong. We got 3 sets of screws last week. So first of all, we've got DPO 6, which are these ones. And these are 1.5 by 4 millimeter PB screws, of which one is spare. Next up, we have DD03, which is 2.3 by 4 mil PM screws, one of which is spare, so we only want one. And then lastly, we have DD04, 1.8 by 3.5 mils PM screws, one of which is spare. Now, before I begin, I had an interesting comment about the order that we put this on. It was suggested that rather than putting the mudguard flap on, then putting this on, where's it go? I've got to think how it goes now. Then putting this on, then attaching this to the chassis, that would perhaps, see if I've got this right, attach this to the chassis first and then attach this. I think that's how we got it. It sounds a little bit awkward to me, but I'm going to give it a go. And then we've got something to do a comparison. And if we end up saying, no, I like it the way the magazine's done it, that's fair enough. So we're going to skip the first 5 instructions, which is assembling the mudguard. and instead we're going to go straight to attaching the mudguard. So we need to attach this to the chassis bar, and looking at the magazine, we need to hold the chassis bar this way round, so it kind of does a bit of an arc. You see how it comes down at the end, and then this bit, which is more pointy, you see this is quite blunt there, and this is more pointy. This is the correct way round. So what we're looking to do is round about here, and if we compare that to the previous weeks, we can see that it is about there. We're going to attach that there. So as always, I've forgotten to load up my screws. So I'm just going to balance that on there. And the screw that we need are the DD03s, which is not that one, is this one. I had a knife somewhere. Can't find my knife, so I'll use my scissors instead. So one screw, get that screw ready, and we're going to be screwing that in from this side. I think I can see now why it was suggested that we do it this way. So I remember that we had a problem before. If your screwdriver is a bit fat, can you see how that's going to rub against that? We're going to have a little bit of trouble. So I really want to be using a screwdriver with a thinner shaft, and I can see that that's probably perfect. So we'll pop that onto there, and it's just going to screw in like so. It's metal into metal, so we want to get that nice and tight, and that's not moving. Perfect. Really happy with that. So obviously the magazine is now saying that's the end of the build, but now we need to go back to the beginning. So what we want to do then is let's skip a little bit ahead. We want to get our DP06 screws ready. So we're going to need 3 of them. So we'll get those ready. And I can see there is 4 in the packet. So what I was trying to do was hold one screw back and then tip them all out. So get that onto the end of our screwdriver. Always easier once it's ready. Right, so looking at step 1, we need this little, what do we call that? Let's come up with a technical term there. Lumpy bit. That needs to be at the back, and you'll see you've got 5 holes there. And all you need to do is pop. You see you've got 2 pegs on there. I'm trying to find, there we go, 2 pegs, and that goes into peg 2 and 4. And there we go, like that. And then you've got 3 holes exposed, and that's where we want to pop the screws in. So what I'm going to attempt to do, I seem to have lost control of my screwdriver. So I'm just going to pop that in. It is plastic, so I'm just going to pop that in just enough to bite, and then that means I can let go. I can get my next screw ready. And it's gone right up my fingernail. Oh, I was about to say that's why we get spare screws, but I just found the screw that jumped off. Right. And I am actually using a screwdriver head that's way too big for the job. So I'll just go back to the one I used earlier. This probably isn't much better. So I've got 2 screws in nice and loose. Nice. And then this third one I can put in all the way. Now that I know that that's that mudguard. I don't know if you heard that little click.
Yeah, I did.
That was clicking into place. What we call a satisfying click.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm tightening up the second screw. I'm not going to over tighten these. They're just going to go in just enough. If there's no movement on that mudguard, it's in well enough. So you can see the screws have actually come through. So yeah, no movement there. Right. So the next step then is to put this bar on, and obviously we don't have this wouldn't be attached if you followed as per the so I just caught a comment. Right, so obviously this bar wouldn't be attached if you were following as per the magazine, so you need to be a little bit careful. And you've got 2 screw holes there and a peg, and there you've got 3 holes. So apologies, I've just hit the camera. And the way that peg is lined up, you cannot put this in the wrong way. Can you see that middle peg? That middle peg is off center.
I think for me, I will be doing it a different way.
I got to admit, the way I'm feeling, unless I've misread the comment, I don't think this is an easier way to do it, because you're dealing with that chassis bar, and it's adding quite a heavy imbalance. But you know me, if anyone gives me a suggestion, I'm quite prepared to follow it through.
Yeah.
And and maybe someone's watching this and thinking, oh, I wonder if it'd been easier if I do it that way. So we've got our 2 screw holes. As per normal, I'm just going to pop the first one in just enough to bite.
Yeah.
So I'll get the second one, second of 2. I'm going to pop that in the other screw hole. And this can go in until it goes nice and tight. Just be careful. Although you are screwing into metal, you are screwing a plastic piece into metal. Yeah. So if you do go too tight, you do run the risk of a crack in plastic mudguard. Right. So as it's a metal piece, well, regardless of what it is, that is got no movement. So whether you can tighten that anymore or not, that's fine. Don't need to go any tighter. So obviously the next step would be to attach this to the chassis bar, which I've already done. So that is actually the issue complete.
Nice.
So quick catch up on the chat. So Caitlin T, sorry, let me bring you back. There we go. So Caitlin T says, hi, Penny. Hi, Caitlin T.
Hi, Caitlin.
Penny, can you show Caitlin what the model is you're doing? I will get to that, I promise you.
Yeah.
And then please. And Teresa Smith says, hi, all. Right. So a recap. I did do, let me find a good view. There we go. So I did do a, right. So first of all, let's have a look at, let's bring this picture in. So I've brought in, this is my thumbnail, which I think you might like. So that may possibly show you the model. So that's the model we're building. If I find...
I've got a magazine in front of me.
Yeah, I've got... what I was thinking about doing, I'm going to show the front cover of the magazine. What's going on? Something's gone wrong with my screen. It's suddenly saying there is nothing to show here.
Can I show you this one?
Yeah, if you like. If you like. So we're building a model of the Eddie Stobart truck. So this is one of the, is it the first or one of the first Eddie Stobart trucks? This is a DAF. It's one of 4. This particular one was called Twiggy. The four trucks were all named after famous people at the time.
Yeah, famous ladies, isn't it?
Yeah. So the original 4. I mean, I don't know if you know much about Eddie Stobart trucks, but they're all named after women. And usually you find the modern ones have been given 2 names. Yeah.
Dolly Parton's
you might get one. You might be one out there called Caitlin Teresa, you know. But the first 4 were actually called Twiggy, after the model Twiggy. And then you had singers Tammy, which is Tammy Wynette, Dolly as in Dolly Parton, and Susie as in Susie Quattro. Yeah. And then it's been expanded to cover other Stobart vehicles, including their sponsored sport cars and a Stobart rail locomotive called Eddie the Engine, which
Yeah.
I think is a brilliant name.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad that Mr. Stobart wasn't called Ivor.
I get that. Yeah.
That's fine. So let's have a look at what we've got next week. So next week, we've got the parts for the right chassis. So what we're going to be doing is taking one of these, and you see we've got all these holes. So that tells me that there's room there for lots of little accessories. We can see that the wheel's going to go in there. This is the front wheel, and then the back wheel's going to go in. Let me see if I got this the right way around. That is this one, isn't it? So obviously we've got to join up the two bits of chassis, but the rear wheel's going to go in there, and there will be a bit continuing around the front, but that's obviously the main truck bit. And then you'll have the, don't know why they call it this, but you'll have the third wheel will sit about there, and then the cab will sit there, and from the top view it'll look something like that.
What is the third wheel?
Pardon?
Is that the spare wheel of food?
No. I've checked this because it doesn't sound right to me, but it is right. So when you have the trailer, you have a little post, like a connecting point.
Oh yeah.
And on the back of the cab, round about there in the middle, you have this big round bit which they coat in really heavy grease. And then what they do is they slide the connecting point, and it connects, and that is the third wheel. And it just seems a really weird name for it, because even with the older trucks only having 4 wheels, I don't know if this has got 4 wheels or no. This has got 6 wheels. Looks to me like it's got 6 wheels. It has got. We know it's got 6 wheels because we've made them. Moment of brain fart, I think they call that. So you've got 6 wheels in contact with the ground. Then you've got the steering wheel, which some people count as a wheel, and yet that bit there is called the third wheel. If anything, it should be called the 8th wheel, shouldn't it? Or the 5th wheel, 7th wheel even. So it just seems a bit of a strange name to me, but that's what it's called. You know, I'm sure it's not the only thing in the world that's got a...
Is there a spare wheel? That's what I don't know.
Pardon?
Is there a spare wheel as well?
Yes, there is a spare wheel. Let me move over to me. Well, right, this is the thing, right? I know there's a spare wheel because I've seen something, and I can't remember. I think the spare wheel goes on.
No,
I think it goes on to this side. But I don't know if the vehicle has a spare wheel, if the model has a spare wheel. I'm kind of tempted to think it's not going to have a spare wheel, because isn't there an argument to say we would have built it by now if there was one?
Don't know.
But, you know, Harshette publications, sometimes they have a strange build order.
Yeah.
Maybe they've gone, Penny doesn't like doing wheels, and we've just made her do a lot of wheels, so let's give her a bit of a break before giving her the spare one. Or they could be sitting there going, right, guys, don't give the spare wheel, right? We'll wait till Penny thinks, oh, lovely, no more wheels, and then we'll spring it on her. So, yeah, let me just check my messages, because more often than not, when I get the dings, it's to do with the stream. But it's actually, I'm not going to name names, but I did invite another guest and she fell asleep. Sorry, this person fell asleep and has only just woken up. So too late, you've missed it now. But right, guys, so I am going to end this stream then. That is the build for this week. And they're so good and so symmetrical, I can't actually remember which one I built this week and which one I built last week. I think this is the one I built this week, because this is the one with the electrical tape on it. I do not know what I'm working next week still. My boss is a little bit slow with the rotors this week. So I think I'm just gonna record the video and push it out for next week. Now I'm going to be returning tomorrow in a diamond painting format, and all I'm going to say is I have some very exciting news about a competition. It's going to be a permanent competition, and you could potentially win big. That's all I'm prepared to say. If you want to know more, then you need to watch my stream tomorrow. Does that excite you, Chris?
Yeah, it does.
Yes. And have I left that exciting enough? Big enough gap there to make people interested?
Definitely.
So, yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's going to be a permanent competition, and you could potentially win big.
That'll be awesome. That will.
I think. I mean, look, not all of my ideas have been brilliant. We did a little quiz thing once, and it was an absolute letdown. This is something that's based on something that's based on something that's based on something, and I think it's going to be exciting. So, if you like diamond painting, I really do think it's a show you shouldn't miss.
Yeah, exactly.
So, with that, I'm going to end the show. Thank you very much for watching. Like I say, next week is going to return to the normal time of 6 p.m. and it's most likely going to be pre-recorded. So all I need to do now is thank my guest for being very kind and joining me.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Thank you, by the way, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please share, like, subscribe for all that jazz you do underneath. Give a good thumbs up if you can, and then catch you next one. Yeah. So if you like the Eddie Stobart, Chris Davis World is also doing it, so don't forget to check out his channel. Yeah, and he's doing a very good build. He's got really good at it now. I was helping him last night, and I think we all agree he did very, very well. Well, let's put it this way: you did 2 issues. We kind of expect it to be about 2 hours, and I think you had both issues done in about the length of this video at the moment. So that's right, guys. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in another video. Don't forget, catch me tomorrow. Big exciting news. So take care, guys. Bye bye.